compare Stouffville to other towns, I mean, what's interesting to me is that we are so ingrained in the hockey here in Stouffville. You see it everywhere. You see the advertisements. You see the kids walking around with their Clippers gear and their Markham Stouffville Stars wear, and parents too. It seemed to be everywhere even before our kids were playing. And so it was kind of assumed when our kids were born that they were going to play hockey. Here we are now, very much immersed in it, and you see, I don't know if that's why we see it everywhere, because we live it.
This is Stouffville. Almost 44,000 people live here. There are 3 main intersections. There is no mall, no movie theater, but there are 2 hockey rinks. It is home to both future and former NHL players and 5 different hockey leagues. Stouffville is growing, but the one thing that hasn't changed is the town's love for the game.
This is a common theme in all small Canadian towns. Renee St. Gelais has lived in small towns her whole life. She moved to Stouffville 16 years ago to start a family. Her 3 kids, Jack, Claire, and Henry, all play hockey. From 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, she's a teacher at the only high school in town. But after that, she's the hockey mom. You'll find Renee and her husband, John Neves, at the rink 10 to 15 times a week.
Having all 3 of my kids in hockey means that we are very busy adults and very busy parents. But it really has become something that is where we come together as a family. In your underclothes, okay? Please and thank you. A typical weekday would be our usual routine out the door in the morning. Getting school bags packed and coats on, looking for shoes, etc. The morning chaos, always with a last minute reminder about who has hockey practice, where we need to be when we get home, who's going to get home first, what do you need to do when you walk in the door.
Brush your hair, put it in a pony. Dad's going to be here any minute.
Claire is Renee's only daughter. She is 10 years old and has been playing hockey for half of her life. Claire currently plays defense for the Markham Stouffville Stars Atom A team. This is the only girls rep team for Markham and Stouffville combined.
The things that kid can do out on the ice is pretty amazing. She's also very competitive. So we love to watch her sort of thrive and excel at what she loves to do.
I found out that all my friends were playing from school, and then I wanted to play on the same team as them. So then I asked my parents, and they said yes. These are my hockey cards, and I'll start with my favorite ones. So these are jersey cards. I really like the card because it's a hockey player. It's Patrick Marleau, I think it's called. And he's with his son. This one I recently won. I'm pretty sure it was 2 weekends ago or 1 weekend ago.
The fact that Jack plays, did that influence you wanting to play defense as well?
Yes.
Why?
Because I wanted to be like my big brother.
Claire's older brother, Jack, was the first to get involved in hockey. He plays defense for the Stouffville Clippers roster select team. At first, Jack wasn't interested in playing hockey. Now he's 7 years into the game.
My friend was teasing me because I didn't play any sports, so I wanted to play sport. When I started off, I didn't like skating, and I was really slow. But then as I progressed, I got faster and I got put on defense. And I feel like I'm pretty good at defense. I don't know. I think once my sister saw me playing, she just didn't want to be dragged around all the hockey. She wanted to play on her own. And my brother, we just asked him and he said yes right away because he's just in the Timbit League, so he just walks around, just skates around. No one really knows what they're doing, but it's still fun to watch.
Henry is 5 years old and already plays hockey twice a week.
How old are you?
6.
Nope, not true.
Yeah.
Nope, we want to be 6, but...
I'm 100.
Henry would just follow us along anyways to the rink. So he ended up being that baby that was bundled up and pushed in the stroller at all the hockey games. And he was there all the time anyways. So he naturally talked about getting on the ice.
He always wants to do what I'm doing. And in the stands, every time when I go for a breakaway, he goes, "Go, Claire, go!" And he's screaming his little head off. Go, Claire, go! Go, Claire, go!
John Eves grew up in a small town where everyone played hockey. He started when he was 5 years old and still plays today. He passed on his love for the game to his children.
I've always lived in smaller towns where hockey was a thing, so to be outside of that would be, it'd be different, I guess, because hockey's always been a part of my life, and I think it always will be.
He's the one with the hockey experience, and the kids really wanted him to coach when they were little. So Jack and Claire each had their time with Dad on the bench in House League when they first started. He helped out as assistant coach or whatever. And it worked well. But as they got older and a little bit more competitive with their hockey, we figured out that it was just a better role for him, a better fit to be the hockey dad who has those one-on-one talks and gives them feedback on the drive home and is in the stands cheering them on.
He brings his whiteboard out and tells me what I'm doing wrong and what I'm doing right. After my games, he asks me, I saw that penalty or I saw that goal, so I know he's actually watching.
So where should the blue team be?
Yeah.
Okay. The defense. You should have someone here. And you have possession of the puck right now?
Yeah. We can go. Huh?
Usually what I try and do is I try and point out what they did good and then what they can improve on. I don't usually try and say you did this wrong. I see a lot of parents do that, and I don't think it's very constructive.
What are you guys doing?
John Janovski is the coach of Jack's team. He grew up playing hockey and has been coaching for over 12 years. Janovski's coaching style may be tough, but that's only because he wants the best for his players.
What I like to do with the kids is this. I like to coach the kids in a sense where there's fairness for everyone. So I preach hard work and good listening, and I promise everyone a fair shift. So why I'm a little bit different, I think, than a lot of other coaches is I don't shorten my bench in the last few minutes of the game. I give everyone an opportunity to excel and to fail and to learn from both. Zach, get in the corner of the puck. I preach this all the time, and I tell this to the parents and I tell this to the kids. Hockey's a vehicle for discipline, for teamwork, for conditioning. It's just a tool to learn those skills. And it's a fun way to do it. So I love hockey, but I take it more as are the kids learning these skills through the game, and hopefully as they get older they bring it to their real life.
Every hockey player looks up into the stands to see their biggest fan. She is there every early practice and every late game. She sits in the stands with a cup of coffee in hand and a blanket in her lap. She is the loudest and proudest in the crowd. She is the hockey mom.
The hockey moms are very into the sport, even though sometimes they don't really know what's going on. They just like when I'm playing, I'll just start I'll hear everyone, like every hockey mom on the other team, just start yelling. And usually it's kind of weird because I turn around, I'll just see all of them screaming at the top of their lungs.
It also means that we're cheering and supporting each other as hockey moms, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes that job is exhausting. So thank goodness we have each other and our little group of friends. We socialize outside of the hockey rink as well. And those are some really fun nights where we can be women and human beings and, take a bit of a rest from the crazy busy mom life. So there's a group of 4 of us that chat. Sometimes I'll get to my phone in the middle of the day and there'll be 32 text messages in this group chat from my mom friends. And then I'm like, oh, I'm so behind now. What did I miss? And I'll have to scroll and look through them all. But whether we're talking about hockey and trying to organize or trade off who can pick up my kid or, who needs coffee, I'm stopping at Tim's, or it's needing to just vent and let something off your chest. It makes me laugh, and it sometimes is exactly what I need in the day to keep me going.
Anyone can love hockey, but not everyone can afford to play it. Global News reports that the average parent spends upwards of $5,000 per season on hockey.
It's not cheap. I think I added it up the other day, and it was I think just under $5,000 just to sign them up for hockey. And then each hockey tournament is about $1,000 because you get your hotel room, all your meals. Claire has 4 out of town. Jack has 1. So there's $5,000 right there. And then equipment and everything else. So it can add up very quick. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think it holds a lot of families back from having their kids play hockey and in above house league. I think if it was any more, I would probably limit on what level they play.
Making it big in hockey is expensive, but Renee says it's worth it if it means supporting her children's dreams.
We don't push our kids. If they're enjoying it and they're loving it and they're passionate about it, I'm there. We support them and we have their back. I don't know that if you ask them, they would say that that's what their goal is too. Right now, they're very much in the moment and loving the hockey and loving the social aspect of it. Who knows what tomorrow will bring, right? Right now, they're very much in the moment with it, and that's okay with me. So we'll see.
So is hockey something you hope to pursue as a career? Like, is the NHL kind of your goal?
Yeah.
Yeah? And why? What is it about that?
I want to be famous. And I want to sign papers for people. And I want them to wear my jersey. A lot more people would notice me and say, oh, there's a girl playing in the NHL.
I thought I was going to be like the best player ever, but that was like when I was little, and now I'm older and I actually understand that I'm not going to be the best player that ever lived. It would be a dream, but I don't think it's ever going to happen because I'm pretty low level right now.
Those who want to go pro must be willing to go the distance. Anthony Messina has lived in Stouffville his whole life. Hockey is just a game to most 18-year-olds. To Anthony, it's a lifestyle. He attends Everest Academy, a well-known hockey school in Toronto. He currently plays on the Toronto Junior Canadiens, a competitive OJHL team. Messina commutes for an hour just to get to his games and practices. He says there's no distance or price that would make him quit.
I wake up at 7, get to school for 8:30, and then do my classes from 8:30 to 9:30, and then 12:15 to 1:15, and then I come to the rink, eat, and then take my stick, sharpen my skates, and then go on the ice, and it's just basically the same routine every day. Like any other kid my age, my goal would obviously be to go to the NHL, but mainly it's a little bit too far. My goal is to be paid for playing the sport I love. So even that's in Europe, the States, anywhere.
Boston Pizza is where most Stouffville hockey teams go to celebrate a win. Former NHL player and assistant coach Keith Acton owns this location. He grew up in Stouffville, left to play hockey, and is now back in his hometown.
As a young boy, I guess I had a hope and a dream and an expectation, and that's not unlike a lot of kids that growing up in our country. And my expectation was I was going to play in the National Hockey League. So I started as a 5-year-old here, and I played my minor hockey here, and this community provided me with the necessary prerequisites to move on.
If I'm thinking about sacrifices and in my initial feelings about being a hockey mom, selfishly they were like, oh, I can't imagine spending that much time at the rink, spending that much money on these activities for my kids, and yet here we are, and I can't imagine it any differently.
Pick him up, Jack! Pick him up!
When I'm watching my kids look up at me from the ice and they know that we've watched and we were able to be a part of it, when I see that, it totally makes it worth it. As long as my kids are loving being on the ice and enjoying what they're doing, then this is our life and this is our family time.
Growing up in Stouffville in the 60s was, it was a small community. It was probably only 3,000 people. You knew pretty much everyone that lived here, and you know, sports was a big part of this town, and hockey was probably the #1 sport, and the local arena was the gathering place, and that's where we went, either public skating or playing hockey.
It's that sense of community, right? That the hockey brings out in everyone.
It meant a lot to the people. We were proud of our hockey and proud of our hockey teams, not unlike a lot of most small communities across the country.
You go to Belleville, you go to Barrie, you go to Kingston, wherever we are, there is that community of hockey players and hockey parents.
For the Ryerson Documentary Unit, I'm Nicole DiDonato.